The glutes are actually made up of 3 different muscles. The gluteus maximus, which is the largest muscle in the human body by volume, the gluteus medius, the gluteus minimus. In today's video, we're going to be discussing glute anatomy, functions of the glutes, why you should train your glutes, and which movements you should be performing when trying to grow your glutes. The gluteus maximus' main functions are to extend and laterally rotate the hip joint. You extend your hips when you jump, run, and swim. I would like to start off by saying no matter what anyone tells you, you cannot grow the perfect glutes at home with no weight. In order to build any muscle, you need to be able to progressively overload by either increasing the weight, volume, and intensity of your workouts over time. In order to grow your glutes, you have to effectively train them. So that means you have to ditch those nonsense exercises that you see everyone else doing in the gym and focus on progressively overloading and compound movements. So in today's video, I'm going to show you what to do from your warm-up, glute activation, to your main lifts. Let's get into it. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy on glute activation, on whether it works or not when it comes to growing your glutes. There was a study I found on PubMed where they did 2 different groups. One group decided to do the glute activation before their glute workout, and the other group just went straight into the workout. And after 6 weeks, it came to the conclusion that the group that did do the glute activation did not see any significant results compared to the group that did not. So that simply tells you that glute activation isn't necessary to do before your glute days. It is simply just a warm-up. It is not necessary. So the big question is, why should you strength train your glutes? Strong glutes help support your lower back during most lifting motions like the deadlift, and they help prevent knee injuries during lifting and running exercises. When training the glutes with a goal of hypertrophy in mind, the most important thing you need to remember is to master your technique and your form. Because in order to train a muscle effectively, you have to know what you are doing, you have to make every rep count, and you have to move with purpose. When training the glutes, I want you guys to remember the big 4: squat, thrust, hinge, and lunge. And I will briefly discuss why you should be doing all 4. When it comes to building your glutes, the hip thrust is probably one of the best exercises that you can perform. And the reason for that is the hip thrust recruits more muscle fibers than the squat would. And most of us tend to do more squats than we hip thrust for our glutes. Next up, we have the deadlift, which is categorized under hinging movements. There are many variations of the deadlifts, and the deadlifts works your entire posterior chain. But the primary muscles being worked during a deadlift are your hamstrings and glutes, which makes the deadlift perfect for loading up the glutes. Next up, we have lunges. Lunges are often looked up as a quad exercise, although they are. But performing unilateral exercises allow you to put more emphasis on the glutes to help isolate the muscle. There are many variations of the lunges. Some will target the glutes more than others. Some of my favorite lunging movements include the walking lunges, the Bulgarian split squat, unilateral lunges, a single leg lunge, a staggered stance lunge. Any form of lunge will put emphasis on the glutes, and this is why I included them in this video, and this is why you should be performing them. One other way to feel the lunges working for your glutes more than your quads is adding a deficit. Whenever you add a deficit, you're standing on a platform, and that will allow you to get a greater range of motion as you step back into your lunge. The last of the big 4 is the squat. The barbell squat is excellent for putting emphasis on the quads, and it's often mistaken as a glute exercise. Although it can target the glutes, but it will not target the glutes as effectively as the last 3 that I just talked about. And the reason for that is the squat actually only target the glutes at the very bottom of the squat. So whenever you perform a squat and you come back at the top and you're extending forward and squeezing your glutes, that is not how you work your glutes during a squat. The way you work your glutes during a squat is by going deeper into your squat. So lower the weight and go deeper into your squat. And at the very bottom of the squat is when you have the most emphasis on the glutes. I also wanted to include some accessory movements that you can perform after your big 4 movements. Now here I'm doing a cable pull through, which is another hinging movement that will work just as the deadlift. And here I am doing the cable kickback, and notice how I'm doing it really slowly, not too fast. My back is staying still, and I'm really focusing on that glute muscle. And that is how you should be doing it. And I also wanted to include the seated abduction. Now this is great. You can feel it in your glutes as you are working. But what I want you guys to keep in mind is that you do not have to be all fancy about it, leaning forward and standing up. It will work your glutes either way. So do it the correct and the safest way. And what you want to do with this is to control the movement. You always want to control the weight and not let the weight control you. And you do not have to do 50 to 100 reps on this per set. All you have to do is about 3 sets of 25 reps, or 10 to 15 reps, 15 to 25 reps. You don't have to overdo it. And lastly, if you're ever doing the back extension and you want to put more emphasis on the glutes, what you need to do is round up your upper back, and that will put less strain on your lower back and more stress on the glutes, which will allow you to feel them even more. And another tip is to add some weight. So don't just do it body weight. Over time, you want to add a dumbbell, add a plate to help you progressively overload that movement. If you like this type of video, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and comment down below any video suggestions that you'd like to see on my channel, and I'll see you guys on my next one.